Hey, what's going on, Cashflow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. I am here in Miami, Florida. Are we in Doral or Miami?
No, Miami.
We're in Miami at my buddy Tony Sentmanat's gym. We're in his office and kind of turned it into a YouTube studio here, and it is amazing. If you don't know who Tony is, I think a lot of you probably maybe already do. He's huge on Instagram. He's got over 1 million followers on Instagram. Real World Tactical, and he's got _tactical at Real World _tactical. And I mean, this guy, he's a beast. I'll tell you, we're gonna go get a workout in later. He's gonna make me look like a weakling, but like he's a monster in pretty much every way. His mindset is amazing, and so I know in most of my videos I do just on personal finance, but I talk about the 5 F's of life. I talk about fitness. I talk about just being mentally tough and all these different things. And honestly, this guy is former Marine, former SWAT, former like.
I've done a couple things in my life.
Right? And he's built
a lot
up
of formers.
Well, a lot
I'm
of
retired now.
Yeah, well, we're getting old, man. I don't know what to tell you. So, so I thought it would be a fun way to add a lot of value to the channel, to be able to like come on and interview you and talk about just the ride, the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly. Because that's kind of what we do on this channel. I cannot stand. The channels and the people that just talk and show all
the good stuff,
all the fancy, shiny, glittery stuff, right? Like, let's just be real, because life, when you reach a certain level of success, it's a grind. It's hard. Yeah. You get your teeth kicked in, you get knocked to the ground, you got to build back up. And so,
absolutely.
So if you could, in your words, I mean, I tried to give a little intro, but like, give everybody kind of like a little bit of your background in your words, because it's intense.
So, I come from a Cuban descent.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. So we pretty much my mom and my grandmother were the ones who raised me, and we come from nothing. We started off in Carol City, and we were that usual moving around every couple of months, to a different place. So I come from that world. I finished high school. I wasn't a great student. I was, I think, a C average, 2.2 or something like that average. So I decided to go to the Marine Corps, and I did 4 years in the Marines. I went in as a grunt, as an 0311, and by the time that I came out, I detached to security forces, went in 98, got out in 2002, and then from there, I went into corrections for a very small amount of time, and then from there, I went to police.
That's amazing.
And the police, by the time that I got to the Marines, I was already a firearms instructor. I was a defensive tactics instructor, all those type of things. So there's not much things you can do when you come out of the Marines, and the job that I had in the Marines. So I ended up becoming a cop. I lateraled over from corrections to a police officer.
Yeah.
And I was a cop for 15 years. So I was about 36 years old.
That's awesome.
So I can tell you that being a cop is a paycheck to paycheck life. Mm-hmm. I lived paycheck to paycheck, or paycheck to cash advance to paycheck. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Living that life.
So, most police officers make their money on either overtime or off duties. I was in SWAT, so I did have quite a bit of overtime.
Yep.
Being down here in Miami-Dade County, based out of Miami-Dade County, and we were very busy. It was a very busy city, my years that I did as a police officer, I wouldn't take them back for anything. They taught me to be who I am today, and they showed me a lot of the world that 99% of the world will never see. The evil that is out there, right? So, in 2012 was when I first started Real World Tactical.
Okay.
I didn't start teaching and all that till 2014 because I had to get the capital and the finances right. I had to take out a loan on my retirement, to get all the things. And I got on social media early on Instagram early on, and back then there was no algorithms and where they suppress you and all these type of things they do now. So it started off as a firearms training company.
Okay.
So I wanted to teach people the ability to be able to defend themselves with firearms, and as well as hand-to-hand self-defense and all that type of stuff. And I've been a strength conditioning coach for almost 20 years. I was very big into fitness my entire life.
Yep.
And I started showing fitness me going to the gym all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like I always did. In SWAT, you had to be you had to be physically fit. In the Marine Corps, you had to be physically fit. So I've always been that way. And started taking off. So little by little, my videos started getting a lot of notoriety, and little by little, my page started growing. I went 10 to 50,000 to 100,000. You know, and by 2016, I had 500,000 followers on Instagram.
That's amazing.
I had a shit ton of sponsors.
Yep.
In that small amount of time, in those 2 to 3 years, I had to change my mind from being a cop, which is, you know, most people would say a cop is not a very smart person. You know what I'm saying? Just a hardworking individual.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
It's hard work.
Hard work.
And you're putting your life on the
you're
line.
Talking about 80-hour work weeks every week, on call 24/7 my entire career.
And one of the most underpaid.
And one of the
like
most
when
underpaid
you consider
professions.
what you're doing, the risk you're taking.
And what you got to deal with on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
Now you're always going to get your cop haters, you know, that they're all this and all that. But at the end of the day, it's just another career, right? I had to get my mindset from that to understanding that I wasn't going to have a paycheck anymore. I wasn't going to have a retirement anymore. I wasn't going to have medical benefits anymore, and all these different things that I had as a cop. And I had to hustle on my own.
And you were dealing with that struggle having 500,000 followers.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, well, yeah, because at that point, it was a deciding factor on whether I was going to continue being a cop.
Okay.
And doing the company part-time.
Right.
Or giving it all up.
Going all in.
All in.
Yeah.
And I made the best choices I ever in my entire life. And I went all in.
That's awesome.
And I retired early. And I still get a certain. I still ended up I get a certain percentage of my retirement at 55, and then I pretty much cashed everything out. Right, I pulled all my annuity,
I love it.
All my 1% fund, and all these different things, and
you invested it in yourself.
Correct, absolutely. At that point, I was already making part time. I was making 6 figures part time. Teaching.
Yep.
Right. So the money was there. Right, but the stability wasn't.
And your confidence probably wasn't there quite 100%.
Yet. Well,
right?
This is the thing. At that point, it was, okay, I'm here right now, but tomorrow will be gone.
Yeah.
You know, because I've had instances in my life where, you know, I was homeless for a period of time. I was living out of my car for a little bit of time, you know. And, you know, and I know what it's like to not have any money and come from nothing. So I never wanted to go back there again. Right. And that was my biggest fear. So I was like, and not only that, but everyone in my job, with a very select few of good friends of mine, coworkers, were all saying, you're going to fail. You're going to be in a dumpster. The only thing that you're good at is being a cop. You're not going to make it. You're not going to, you know what I mean? You're crazy. You only have 4 more years left. What are you thinking? You know? So at that point, it was very hard decision because, number one, I knew I couldn't fail.
It wasn't an option.
Failing wasn't an option because I wasn't going to give those people the satisfaction of me failing.
I know that one. Yep.
So I had to, you know, go in 100 miles an hour, and I had to reprogram my brain from being an employee to an entrepreneur and marketing and, you know, building a company and building a brand. Right. So my brand evolved from being just a firearms training company to the trifecta of literally becoming what some would consider, you know, nowadays a warrior, right? Where it says, you know, you're a protector, a sheepdog, right? Where you're saying now, you know, I'm teaching you firearms training. I'm teaching you how to be fit, living a healthy lifestyle, functionally, not just like being a bodybuilder or whatever, but functionally, you know, good, right? And then learning mixed martial arts, which is learning how to defend yourself and your family. And my company, Real World Tactical, was all 3 of those things. It's like a triangle. It's a trifecta.
I love it.
Okay. Obviously, that's how it started. It grew from that to 1 million plus on the social media side, with a lot of the crazier things that I used to do on social media for entertainment, jumping over cars.
Dude, this guy, first of all, you're a monster. Like, you're a big guy.
I was. I'm still a big guy.
You're still a big guy. My wife, we're driving. He picked us up at the airport last night, and my wife is like, his freaking arms are huge. Like, and so, like, but no, you're a big guy, but like, you're also nimble. I remember watching you do this dive over a car and rolling, like for a big dude, you're like super athletic, right?
That was
like,
always my claim to fame, right?
Right.
I always had to. I was always the biggest guy on my team when I was on teams, you know, and I always had to do everything that the guy that was 30 or 40 pounds lighter had to do. You had to run the 7 miles. You had to do this. You had to do that. You had to have the cardio.
Yeah.
So me being 240 pounds, 250 pounds, I could still run. I could still jump. I could still fight. And I had cardio for days. And I was strong as a power lifter. But, you know, I could, you know, do all the other things that some guy at 200 pounds could do.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Where everybody was always like, wow, you know, it's impressive. And it was just a matter of, because I had been doing it for so long that I just, you know, with time, I designed all these programs built around being functionally fit.
Yeah.
And that perfect for me, you know, when I tell people, I was like, whatever weight you are.
Yeah.
So the goal for you as a grown man in being that, how can I say, properly prepared, right?
Yeah.
Would be that you're faster than someone who's 20 pounds, faster or have more cardio than someone who's 20 pounds lighter, and stronger or as strong as someone who's 20 pounds heavier.
That's awesome.
Right? So you're finding almost that middle ground.
Totally.
Right? Where you're right in the middle of both things, right? And that was how I designed most of all my fitness programs and all my things were, you know, and I have programs now for everything. I have programs for bodybuilding. I have programs for strength conditioning. I have powerlifting programs. And I have programs also like where I call hybrid programs, where it teaches you to become that hybrid, right? Where you're right in the middle. And that's how I've been able to help thousands of people over the last decade, you know?
I love it.
Where, you know, I've had people that have emails that, you know, you saved my life. And I have emails that, you know, on the job, I was in your program and, you know, I ran after a guy and the guy tried to kill me and, you know, and it wasn't for you. And at the same time, I have your regular people that say, no, because of your videos and because of who you are, I started at 300 pounds and I'm down to 210 pounds. I lost almost 100 pounds in your program and because of what you taught me, right? So those are the ways that I guess have made my brand a passion for me.
I love it.
Right? Because I tell people in police work and what I did as a SWAT officer for many years, I never did any drugs. I've never touched any of those things, right? So I was an adrenaline junkie. I looked for that, you know.
That was your high.
Chase.
That was your high.
I looked for those bad guys. That's what I love to do. I love to get home invasion subjects, armed robbery subjects, homicide subjects, and that's what we went after on a daily basis back then, you know. And you know, you learn to have that juice. We used to call it juice, you know. And when you get out and you retire out, you no longer have that anymore. So you have to find some kind of something that you're taking in. You know, and the best way that I knew how was I get a kick out of helping these people change their life, and I saw that I did something good.
That's amazing.
And it wasn't always that I was the money, because the money has to be there, right?
Totally.
But the whole point was, okay, how are you with this brand that you have? How are you helping people in regards to not only physically but emotionally, mentally, and all these type of things? And if it was me, if I could help a person by showing videos of my bloopers, which I used to do all the time, where I would show videos of me failing, constantly failing. Because the truth is that over my 20 plus years of training, I've failed more than I've succeeded. I've hurt myself numerous times.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Pushing the boundaries of what I could physically do. And in that process of physically doing something that I didn't think I could do in the first place, I would push my body physically, and not only that, but push my mentality, the mindset, to where I would get to the point where the fear was what drove me, and not knowing whether I could do it or I couldn't do it.
Okay.
And that adrenaline
that creates adrenaline.
And that's what created the adrenaline for me. You know? And what people see on social media wasn't the foundation.
Right.
It was a lot of entertainment, but it was me pushing myself to those limits of like, what can you do? What can we get your body to do before you die? You know?
Well, so let's talk about that, because I think that's the challenge, whether it's me or you, or like I was talking to this guy, Garrett Gunderson, who's like a multi-time Wall Street Journal bestselling author. And he made the comment when I was interviewing him last is like, all right, I've got my third book coming out right now, right? And he's got like 12, 13 books, right? Like whatever. And he's like, it's funny because you write a book, you create this content, you make videos, you get 1 million followers, like you instantaneously get like all this credibility, right? And it's not necessarily always justified, right? Like I would say to anybody like following you, it's great that you have 1.1 million followers on Instagram. That is not who you are, right?
No.
And that happened because you were consistent over time and all this stuff.
Did all the
but
things I did.
without the 1.1 million followers, you're still going to crush it. You know what I mean? Like, and so like, talk to me about have you ever heard of the concept of the crabs in the bucket?
No.
So the crabs in the bucket analogy. So I grew up in Vermont, and we'd go to Maine, during the summertime, and they have lobster boats, crab boats, all these things. And you go out, and the lobster and crab fishers, they go out and they get their baskets and they dump the crabs into the buckets, and they don't put a lid on them. And it's like you would think you would need to put a lid on it because the crabs would just crawl out. But the thing is you could literally fill a bucket full of crabs, and as the crabs try to crawl out, the other crabs pull them back in. They literally, they will not escape. You do not need to put a top on a lid with a bucket with crabs because the crabs will pull them back in. So that's what happens. Like when you were going through your process of being like, all right, am I going to take this leap? Am I going to go into this entrepreneurial venture? Am I going to have faith in myself and launch my business and get rid of the stability and the certainty in my life? A lot of the people around you were probably watching you being like, this son of a gun is crazy. Like, because they don't understand you. And so what do? They become the crabs. You're trying to crawl out, and they're trying to grab you, pull your ass back in, right?
Yeah,
and so like, talk to me, like, how did that feel? Because this is important because we teach people how to handle their money and get their money in alignment with their values and beliefs. You had this moment where I think you reached this, and this is just my breakdown of it. Tell me kind of like where I'm at with it.
Yeah.
It's like you had this moment where you kind of realized like, holy crap, I'm not living in alignment with my values and beliefs. Like I can't keep, like I love what I do. Yeah. It's not that you didn't like what you do and think there was value in it, but it wasn't who you wanted to be in the world. Like you, I think, hit a point where you realize like, I have more that I can offer the world.
Yeah. Well, my thing was I was burned already. I was burned out.
Yeah.
I went 100 miles an hour as a law enforcement officer for 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And, and when I tell you, 100 miles an hour, my accolades, I have several officer of the month, several officer of the quarters, officer of the year, 2 times, and it was, those accolades mean nothing, but it was the fact of the things that I had to do to get those accolades.
Yeah.
It was going 100 miles an hour every single day, looking and looking and hunting and looking, right? So when at that moment, I had a decision to make, I was already burned, meaning I wasn't giving the same amount of energy to law enforcement anymore. Mm-hmm. I was just going through the motions at that point, right? Yeah. And at that point, I was still in SWAT, but I was part of I was in narcotics, or I was in part of the special investigation section.
Okay.
And before I decided to leave, when I started getting a lot of heat from my upper echelon,
I bet
that they wanted me to do what I was doing when I was getting the lawsuits, when I was getting into all the issues, and I was already older and I didn't want to go back into that world.
Right.
And they were trying to force me to get back into that world. And I just didn't want to do it. I was fine where I was. So I was like, just leave me where I am at, whatever, and they didn't want to. So I had to make that choice, and I made the choice. And yes, everyone around you at that point, they look at you making a choice that they would never make.
Right.
And that's the difference.
It.
The choice of fear.
Yeah.
Because they were scared, because they put themselves in the same exact situation.
Yeah.
And the comfort of the retirement, the comfort of that paycheck every 2 weeks, the comfort of that medical insurance, medical benefits, all these things. But this is what most people don't understand. The comfort of that paycheck, the comfort of that medical benefits, the comfort of everything that they give you, the retirement, what it is it's a lie. It's all a lie, because the truth is that comfort is what's holding you back.
It's shackles.
You are settling for something that you are meant way more to do in this life. And if you feel like you're meant for more, then you have to make a choice. And that choice could be the defining moment in your life. on what you decide to do, but you have to make that choice. And the only way you make that choice, the only way that I made it, was believing in myself enough that no matter what happened, I was not going to fail.
Well, and that's hard because when you had your superiors that were obviously trying to hold you in
100%.
because your choice, they couldn't resonate with because they didn't have their beliefs. They didn't have the skills. It's
not even that. You know what it was? It's very simple. It was
going against them. It wasn't serving them.
No, it was a simple fact of they want to remind you that you're a piece of shit police officer.
No way.
100%.
Oh, wow.
They want to remind you that
dark.
No matter how many followers you have, no matter how much influence you have, no matter what you're doing in your life,
you're just a cop.
You're just a fucking piece of shit cop.
Wow.
And they are above you, and they are your boss. And that's what it was. Because at the end of the day, there was no reason for me to need to go back to do what I was doing.
You're already making double what you were doing,
It was
right?
ego. It was ego to remind me that no matter how much money I was making, no matter what I was doing in my life, that I was always going to be here. Here. They wanted to keep me here. That they did not want to see me
outgrow them.
100%.
Yeah.
And in life, you're going to have going to have people surrounding you, around you, that will try to do that. They're going to constantly try to pull you down, or they're going to constantly tell you things that are going to make you doubt yourself.
100%.
And that is the problem. And those people, you know, I have people that know me personally, you know, I have a saying, you know, you have to samurai him. So it's like, what is a samurai? You got to get that katana, and you got to slit his fucking throat. You got to cut his fucking head off. And there's going to be times in life where you're going to make a choice, and you got to cut his head. Cut his fucking head and move on with your life, and that's it. That's the bottom line.
I was just going to ask you that. So, like, in your process of making that shift, and I know for me, I grew up in Vermont in a trailer park, you know, kind of a backwoods town, right? Like back in the day, and like I speak to some people but I don't really keep any close relationships from anybody that you grew up with. You know, and that was a lot of, and it's not that I hold any animosity or have anything negative about anybody. It's just I'm trying to live this life, and they're happy down here, and like, you know, like it is what it is. So I had to separate from that. So how was that for you?
You know what? I don't mind. Listen, I've always been the type of person that if I could help you, if you were someone that helped me when I was, you know, if I can help you in some way, I don't care if you're living down here. I'll help you. However, how can I help you? Is it within my means or within my power, right?
Totally.
I will stay friends. I have friends, you know, that we don't talk every day, but guys that I've known for 30 plus years. Right. That they have, you know, regular jobs, and they have a family, and they have a house, and they're
that's
you know,
amazing.
Right? And I'm still friends with them.
Absolutely.
And now, granted, you know, we don't talk every day because you know, they live their life, I live my life. But I know that if I give them a phone call one day and I need them for something, they're going to be there. Just like if they call me one day and they need something, I'm going to be there for them, right?
For sure.
Those type of people those close friends never pulled me down. Those close friends were like, hey, good luck in your endeavor. You know, good luck with everything that you do.
But
you have your other
crew. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the other ones are the ones where you have to almost like, you got a fucking stiff arm. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Heisman.
I will keep, you know, shake your hand. I will keep you there. But that's as close as you get to me. You know, because I could already feel the negativity. I could feel the aura. I could feel that you're bringing me down, or you're trying to bring me down. Or you know what? It may not even trying to bring you down. They just don't believe in you. They don't believe in you. And then you give them something, or you tell them something. That's why in the beginning, I didn't really tell anybody what I was doing. In the beginning, I just put my head down and worked. And I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked, and I worked. And, you know, I'm a big proponent of, and I've said this before many times, where if people spent half the time working, right, instead of talking, they will get a lot more done.
Oh my gosh.
Right? So you have 100%. A lot of people that, you know, talk. No, because I want to do this, and no, because I want to do that, no, because I want to this, then want that, no, all these type of different things, right? And they spend all this time talking. Bro, but I see you yapping your mouth every day, but I don't ever see you do anything on what you want to do. I don't see you progressing in what you're yapping your mouth about.
Right.
So in the beginning, it wasn't me about yapping. It was about working, getting to where I needed to be, to where I was stable enough to live a stable life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then if I wanted to talk, okay, then I talked. When I hit the million, I can talk.
Yeah.
You know, I worked my ass off to get here.
Yeah.
You know, I did everything I had to do. You know, I built a brand that, you know, it's known worldwide. And am I a gazillionaire? No, but it was never about the money for me. I don't need to be a guy who makes 150 million a year,
right?
Because 150 million a year brings problems,
yeah,
and it brings headaches,
yeah.
And you're a slave to the 150 million a year,
yep.
Right? When I left police work, it was always about working, right, and making money to where I lived a comfortable life. But my biggest thing was I'm gonna make money, but the money isn't gonna make me. Right? I'm not going to work to become a slave to make money. So it wasn't about making 50 million or anything about that. It was about how much money can I make to be financially free and do whatever the hell I wanted to do every single day. And how much money can I make while I'm making that passive income?
Yeah.
And the last 3 to 4 years of my life have been that. Literally investing in real estate, investing in projects that were going to bring me that $20,000 to $50,000 a month return, right? Where I'm doing a bare minimum of work, right? I'm doing maintenance. So you go in there, you do your maintenance for the thing, not where originally when I had to work as I say, for example, a firearms instructor. And I was working the weekends. I would do a Saturday, Sunday class, and I had 20 to 25 bodies on a Sunday, Saturday class. I would make decent money. I would make anywhere between 10 to 15,000 for the weekend.
Cool.
2 days of work.
That's a lot of money for
I didn't
most
see
people.
that in a month
Right.
of overtime as a cop.
Right.
So when I first started making that money, I was like,
know.
but what people don't see was I had to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go pick up my trailer. I had to drive it for an hour, 30, 40 minutes to the range, set up the range, be there from 6 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. Class finishes at 5:30 or 6 p.m. Then I have to pick up the trailer, pick everything up, and take it back.
away.
And put it back away in the storage unit, right? So it was 2 days of 10 hours worth of work. So it was 20 hours worth of work in 2 days. Yeah, I make decent money, but I was in the hot sun the entire day, number one. Dealing with 25 people with guns, number two. People that you didn't know, number three. And it was a risk every single time you go out there, right? And you're working your ass off every time you go out there, right? So my goal was, how can I make those 10 or 15K, right, a month, not having to do that and waking up whenever the hell I wanted and doing whatever the hell I wanted.
So it's the idea is you're taking your hard work and you're creating active income, and then you're at the same time building a platform and reinvesting in yourself to create active income and turning it into passive income.
100%. So the way that I did it, and this is the way that I always recommend everybody, when you start something, you don't take salary.
Right.
I didn't take salary for the first probably 4 years.
And you didn't have to because you were a cop too.
Yeah. Well, the first 2 years.
For the first 2 years.
Yeah, first year. Yeah, I lived off my salary. That was my paid my bills, paid everything.
So that helped get you going.
Yeah, that helped me get me going. I paid back my retirement, the retirement loan that I pulled out. So everything that I was making was going back into the company, into marketing, into all these different things, other than paying me back as like, how much money am I making monthly?
All right, so I'm going to play devil's advocate because I know people are watching this.
Okay.
And they're going, well, Tony, if you're not making anything, how'd you live? Because this is the comments we're going to get, right?
Yeah,
so call it out. Talk. How'd you live?
So the way that I did it was I set out a budget for whatever that was.
Okay.
Right? And that budget, meaning the things that I needed to live, my expenses.
Okay.
Through my LLC.
Okay.
So rent, car, this, that. Those things were the things that I pulled out, paid those expenses, and that was it. Just to live.
Yep.
Right? Now, the money to eat, the money to, because I need to live.
Yeah, you need
the
to live.
money to eat and all those things, everything came out of the business. But it was a budgeted expense.
So as you grew, so what you're saying is, these aren't your numbers, but just talking numbers so people understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's say it costs you $5,000 a month to live, right? So then your business starts making $20,000 a month. That extra $15,000, most people will go, oh man, I'm gonna go get myself a G-Wagon. I'm gonna go get myself a Range Rover. I'm gonna do all these things. But instead, you said, I'm at 20. and I'm gonna just keep living on the 5. I'm gonna take that 15K and double down on myself and keep going and keep the momentum going and not interrupt a good thing, 100%. Right?
And back then, I mean, it wasn't my prime. So back then, I had like sponsors.
Yeah, you were doing.
Yeah, I was doing very
crazy.
well. So it was like between that and at that point, I had 3 companies. And I wasn't paying myself for lavish things. You know, I had until at that time I had my Durango, a Dodge Durango.
Okay.
The same car that I was when I was a cop.
Yep.
And from a Dodge Durango, even after that, from a Dodge Durango, I went to a Dodge Ram.
Nice.
A normal Dodge Ram.
Yep.
Right. And first, probably you're gonna say my first luxurious car I bought. Mind you, I started in 2014. I bought in 2019.
Yep.
Before then, they were all just basic regular cars. So I never. The car was for function for me. It was okay. It was a car to have it to go, and then I got the truck on purpose because the truck gave me the ability to put all of my things in the back when I went to go teach.
Yep. And so you could pull a trailer. You could do things like that.
Pull a trailer, do all the things that I needed, and that was
a utilitarian.
Correct, 100%. You know, and I only had one car.
Yeah.
I didn't have a motorcycle. I didn't have any jet skis. I didn't have any ATVs. I didn't have a boat. I didn't have any of that. I still don't have any of that, right? But those are all to me considered toys. They're a privilege. They're not necessity. What's your necessity? Your necessity is you need a roof over your head. You need food on the table. Okay, and you need transport. Food, roof overhead.
Yep.
Transportation. Those are the 3 things you need in life. To survive. Right?
Yeah.
Anything an expense that comes around that, okay, then that is what you need, right? That's what you pull out. Now, those things was what for the first 3 or 4 years, that's exactly how I lived my life. You know, I never paid myself salary per se, meaning I paid those expenses, and then I gave myself another $2,000 or $3,000 a month.
Okay.
For doing whatever the hell I wanted to do. I never did that. It was basically I never budgeted that in there. You know, now, after years of now I have a set salary that I pay myself. And even now the set salary that I have is nowhere near what it could be. Like I keep it low on the simple fact of to keep myself always grounded, right? So that I don't get comfortable and, I'm making this much money a month and I'm just like, well, I don't know, it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. Let's go buy something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can honestly say the only things that I've bought myself, I'm a shoe connoisseur.
Okay.
I'm a shoe guy. I love Jordans,
All right. So fair enough.
But you're talking about Jordan, I try to go retail with it, so it's 150 to 250, right?
Yeah.
Not a motorcycle that's going to cost $25,000, and all these crazy lavish things, right?
Yeah. But you've also gotten to the point where you can do that now, right?
You have to live life.
You and I, you picked us up in the airport in your Range Rover, right? Like, and the cool part was like you're driving. First of all, it was raining, so you had to drive, slowly, but that thing can rip. But my wife is in the back seat and we're driving, and like I thought it was cool that you were like, you know what? I don't really have anything lavish. This is the one thing in my life that like. You prioritize. That's important. Like, so I think the thing that I love about your story, and it obviously comes from your upbringing, it comes from where your values are, it comes from
you want to know why? You want to know why? Yeah. And I want to tell everybody so they hear this. Why I have a new car or it's a nice new car, because I know nothing about cars. I am not a mechanic.
Totally.
I mean I can go under the hood and I can maybe change the oil. I can replace a tire, like I've done, right? And me, I carry my little Ryobi thing in the car, right? Air compressor, by the way, Ryobi air compressor. I have to have a new car because the stress of having an old car and being dropped off, where you're every morning you're wondering. Damn, if I turn
is it going to turn over? Yeah.
That's very stressful.
We've all been there, right?
Yeah, so it's like, it's a very stressful ordeal, Like, I come up from where I worked at an early age to save up enough money to buy myself my first car.
That's awesome.
I bought a 1989 Mustang GT.
Giddy up.
Right? Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out,
100%.
I bought a 1989 Mustang GT. Right? Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out, 100%. Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out, 100%. Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out, 100%. Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out, 100%. Yeah, so, when all of my friends were out, going to parties,
Yeah.
doing this and doing that. What was I doing? I was working at Winn-Dixie.
Love it.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
like I know what it's like to work for something and have value of what it takes to get something. And not only that, I couldn't even drive my car for a year. I had it sitting in my garage because it was stick shift, and I didn't have a father figure that could teach me to drive stick. I didn't have anybody in my life that knew how to drive stick shift until my grandfather, was able, when I was 16 and I got my license to teach me how to drive stick. But that was a car that I wanted, and that was a car that I saved up for.
Totally.
It is what it is.
So let me ask you this, because I get a lot of comments on the YouTube channel. One of the things I pride myself on the YouTube channel is I engage with every comment that I see.
Okay.
Like, there's less comments on YouTube than there is Instagram, obviously, so you can do it a little easier and it's a little more engaged, whatever. And I don't have 1 million followers either, so it's easier. But here's the deal: like, I love all the comments. I take them all, and I try to add value. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. I try to add value. There's only one type of comment that really just gets under my skin. And that comment is like, oh, it must be nice. Like, you just don't know how to relate to people. Like, it's all this advice you're saying. You just don't have any relatability of how hard it is, this and that, whatever. Now I have my story. I grew up in a trailer park. I grew up with nothing. Like, loving parents, like whatever, but not
no
any
money,
resources.
no monetary.
Everything we've done has been on hard work, determination, stubbornness, stick-to-itness kind of stuff, and whatever. But your life and everything has been even more extreme than mine, in the sense. So, like, talk to people about, if you're starting off right now and you just are like, all right, I got nothing. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to begin. I don't feel like I have any resources. Like, all that stuff. What would you tell that person on where to start and how to gain traction?
I would tell you this. One of the biggest factors and it goes back to having a dream or having a vision or wanting to do something, and they want to start today, or they want to, and once they find out this is what I want, right? They have that decision, because that's probably the most important decision. Totally. I want to start in this, and this is 100%. This is what I want.
Yep.
Not because they're up in the air and they're like debating between 2 or 3 things and like maybe this one or maybe this one. No. This is it for sure. I made that choice. Okay, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
The biggest, how can I say, disparity, right? Where you have right side and left side. And the difference between people that actually make it and people that don't make it are the people that structure themselves and actually start writing down things and doing and putting something on paper that they're actually going to have a structure and organization of what they're going to do. Meaning, I can have a dream all day long. Yeah, I want to become this, I want to become that. Yeah, but how?
Once it's on paper, it becomes a plan.
Correct. So you put something on paper and you write it down, and you have your steps.
Yeah.
You have to have some form of organization of how you're going to do this, because you can have the best thing, but if you don't know how and you don't write it down and see it, this is how I'm going to do this. Today I'm going to do this. Next week I'm going to do this. Next week I'm going to do this. And I'm going to have that structure. And I have to abide by these rules. And I have to finish it.
They have to be disciplined?
Yes.
Oh, what?
And that is the, well, you know what it is? No, you have to be accountable for yourself. Accountability.
Yeah,
so you have to take yourself and say, okay, I want to start this.
Yeah.
Okay, how do I do it? Okay, if you don't know how to do it, bro, Google. YouTube.
Yep.
There isn't much in this world right now that you cannot learn at least the basics of it or the fundamentals of it on Google or YouTube, right? Go to Google, YouTube. Okay, these are the basics. These are the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Write them down.
Love it.
Basic. Okay. This is how I need to do this. How can I do this now? I know these are the fundamentals. How can I do this and be like, all right, this is step 1 for me. This step 1, I'm going to do this week. No matter what happens in my life, this has got to get done.
Map it out. How does it apply in your life? Like the actual implementation, and what does it look like from a day-to-day basis? Like, how do you, because you got a lot going on now.
Yeah, I travel a lot. I just travel
You travel a lot. I mean, you run a successful brick and mortar business here.
Yeah. I gotta, in that sense, I'm a partner. So it's me and my friend Diego, right, De Vera. He runs the operations of the company, and then I'm more of a money silent partner, right? Okay. Now I do help with all the decision making, and I do help with all these different things. He owns this gym, and then he owns another gym in the beach. So he owns 2 gyms.
Nice.
Now he's been the one that. So his whole brand was KO Zone, and his brand is a fighting brand.
Got it.
Where he's like a 3-time world champion, striker, right?
Oh, really?
So my thing was the Real World Strength and Fitness brand, where I wanted to bring fitness into his fighting brand and make a complete gym. And that was my my goal.
That's awesome.
And I needed somewhere to do content, to do all my videos, and to do everything, right? So I came in and I dropped a certain amount of money, and I pretty much rehabbed the entire gym I came in as partner. The first floor, we did brand new bathrooms, everything. It's all on my YouTube.
Yep.
So it came in, and his brand KO Zone it's been always successful. It's been around 12, 13, 14 years. And he comes from nothing as well. Argentinian. Right. He comes from nothing.
Oh,
he
nice.
really comes from nothing. He came here to the United States by
we
himself.
don't even know what nothing is like.
Yeah, exactly. He came here with not a single dollar to his name, and he didn't have any family here. He's here by himself.
Now he owns 2 brick and mortar businesses.
Now he owns 2 brick and mortar businesses in Miami. Right?
Come on now.
Yeah, and I can honestly say he's definitely, without a doubt, without a doubt, the hardest working individual that I've known in my whole life.
That's awesome.
Hands down. He will wake up at 6 a.m. every day.
Just hammer it
and
out.
if he has to go to sleep at 2 a.m. every day, he will sleep for 3 hours and come back to work the next day. 100%. So, I always have respected him for that and looked up to him for that, right? So, have the brick and mortar, the gym aspect of it. But it was, for me, this gym was another passive income where you're talking about a monthly salary where I come in, I check in, I do my things, I use it for content, all that stuff. What does a regular day for me look like? I don't have a regular day. I can't even lie to you. Like, my days consist of traveling all the time, going to shows all the time, whether it's for firearms or for fitness, right? Doing content for my sponsors, dealing with regular, real estate ordeals, and then always looking for that next investment where I'm going to make that extra money. For example, I was, I don't know if you know, but I was a character in Call of Duty.
I do know this. Yeah.
So I was a character in Call of Duty. So I got thrown into...
What was the name of the character again?
Marcus Lurch Ortega.
Okay.
So I was in season 5 of Modern Warfare 1.
Okay.
That opened me up to the gaming world.
Yeah.
At which point in time, I was thrown into the crypto and NFT world. So I have an NFT project that I've been working on for like 2 years, where it's Warrior Alliance, called Warrior Alliance, and it's a whole NFT thing, which everybody knows the NFT world crashed. But I had to build a game, and then I'm still in the process now. I'm building with Fortnite. I'm building a level, an island on Fortnite. I don't know if you know Fortnite. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So we're doing that, right? Making sure that I come through for the Warrior Alliance community that I built. It took me 2 years to build. Even though NFTs are down, still you're still building that income to support that community and to make sure that you do everything right for that community, right?
Love it.
You have that, and then I have an app that I just launched recently this last month, where I've always been a person that I liked everything to be internet-based. Internet-based, no matter what. Internet-based income.
Freedom.
Number one, yes. Well, number one, it's what I've learned is you have to be making money when you're sleeping. If you're not making money while you're sleeping, you're going to be working for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Right? So that's key element right there. Yep. The only way they can do that is by being on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? Because a brick and mortar has to close down.
Yeah.
Eventually. It has to close, And a brick and mortar, you're only catering to a demographic that's in a certain region.
You're always capped.
Yeah, you're capped.
Yeah.
Right? Well, with the internet, it's the world.
Yep.
And if you play your cards right, you can be making money 24/7 around the world.
Yep.
And then the other thing happens to where it's like, okay, well, how do you make money on the internet? Okay, there's 3 different ways. You have products, real actual products,
Right.
like something that you can physically
Amazon,
touch, right?
stuff of
Physically
that nature.
touch.
Yep.
Okay, which I'm not a big fan of. I have done it. I've done signature products, and I've sold signature products. I've done it all.
Sure.
Right. Then you have digital products, which is 90% of the time is information based.
Courses,
Okay,
information.
courses, information, whatever,
Consulting,
which is what I like
yeah.
better.
Yep.
That's the best because at that point you are literally selling information,
Yeah.
digital,
Yeah.
nothing that you can touch,
Yeah.
right? And it's something that you can make money forever. Forever, you make a course one time, and you will sell it for 20 years, right? There is no gross income, there is no net profit, right? So the return on investment is 100% profit.
Yeah.
Once you make it one time and you spend your time making that product, that digital product, that's it. You never have to make it again.
Yeah.
And you can keep selling it forever, right? And it doesn't cost you anything, right?
Yeah.
You have a regular product. This product is going to cost you $5. Well, I'm going to sell the product for $15. So your gross income, okay, maybe $15,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
your actual net profit is going to be $5.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then you have to add shipping and all these different things. Well, it takes another couple dollars off your profit, right?
Right, but that's-
So when someone says, "Oh, I made $1.4 million in products this year," that doesn't mean they made $1.4
That's not
million.
their profit.
That's not their profit. They're probably making 30 points on that, 30%, maybe max
that,
40,
if
if
that.
that, right?
lot
So
of
they're really making, if they say they make $1 million, they're really making 300 grand for that year,
Yeah.
right? And they have the headaches of $1 million,
Right.
right? Inventory, employees, and all these type of things.
Yeah.
So when you're selling digital products, there is no headaches.
Right.
The only headache you have, because there's no inventory, it's all on a computer, or it's all on a USB, or it's all on
amazing.
whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I like that way
Yeah.
more, right? And then you have the other model, which is what pretty much everybody's doing now, or what the future is holding, a subscription-based model, right? Which is what everybody knows, OnlyFans, right? Yeah. Streaming services.
true.
Hey, streaming
Yeah.
services.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Netflix.
Yeah.
That's all subscription based.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So why is subscription based the best endeavor? And I'm going to tell you what I've learned from my 10 years of doing this, right? There is nothing better than having a set income that you know that you're going to be making every single month.
And it's scalable.
Correct. Right? So
Yeah,
at
yeah.
this point, if you have a subscription based application, a subscription based website, whatever it is that you have
Yeah.
that's subscription based,
Yeah.
you know that you have 10,000 subscribers
Yeah.
that pay you this much money every single month.
Yeah.
Now, that number will go up or go down
Yeah.
on a 10 to 15% every single month.
And based on the value that you're bringing to the
Based on
community.
of course, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, but you still know what you're making every month.
Sure.
Because you can
Within a
see
range.
it.
Yeah.
Now, you're selling something today, shirts, for example, and
Yep.
you made 1.4 million. That is not a consumable product.
Right. They may not come back and buy.
Exactly. That person, you're going to buy one shirt, they may not
Right.
come back and pay you again.
Right.
Subscription, you're paying you every month.
Yep.
Right?
I love it.
Digital products, at least with your digital products, is if you have a series of digital products, you have series A, B, C, you can always make D, E, F.
Yep. I love it.
Right? So in the subscription model for my application, for example,
Yeah.
I'm making it the trifecta of applications, right? So you're going to be able to go in there and have information based on fitness. So you have all my fitness programs there,
Cool.
right? You can have information based on the fundamentals of firearms training, drills, whatever you want to learn in the defense industry aspect.
Awesome.
And then you have your mixed martial arts, where it's self-defense, personal stuff. And then I'm adding this, what we're doing right here, entrepreneurship.
Yep.
Because there are so many people that follow me that want to know how they can change their life
Right.
by having financial freedom. And I want to
awesome.
give them guys like yourself and,
Yep.
and guys that we have gotten there already,
Yeah.
and what our experiences were, and if we can help them somehow, some way, that's how we do it. You
All
know?
right, so let's land the plane with this because this is a big one, and this is something I preach a lot, and I love to hear your feedback on this because I think you've embodied it, you've lived it, you've experienced it, and being able to speak to it, I think, is really important. So one of the things that I always tell people is we need to not try to chase big returns so fast, and that it's better to save money, invest in ourselves, allow compounding.
Reinvest.
Reinvest, right? And so I think I'd love to hear your feedback on this, because I talk about it from a real technical perspective, right? A lot. I'm a nerd. I get into spreadsheets, and this is kind of what I do because it's the way my brain works. You've lived it. You've embodied it. And the stories that I've been hearing, both on the podcast you interviewed me on yours and this conversation here, what I've been hearing is you've just embodied that whole concept of, you know what, I'm gonna ride this grind and be willing to take slower growth early because I'm gonna reinvest myself. And then I know that if I do it right, I'm going to be able to have years where instead of chasing 10 or 12% per year, I'll take lower growth first.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get 500% in a year and 1,000% in a year,
Yeah,
200% in a year.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about like, what's it like to live that and do that and like look at people around you getting, higher returns or having faster growth, and you're going slower, and then you catapult over. I'm like, what's that?
You know what it is? It's it's not hard when you've lived that life your whole life.
Okay, fair enough.
Most of these guys are in their 20s and they're chasing his dream and they hit it big.
Yeah.
Right? At 22, 23, they become a huge influencer, or they become something, whatever they may be. And then their mentality is like, it goes from here to like here, like that, blink of an eye. Right? So they do the lavish spending, they do all this stuff, or they're trying to chase that next big thing. Right? There's two things that I learned. Number one, I'm not a money guy. Money doesn't break me or make me.
Yep.
Right? Money comes and goes.
It's not where your value comes from, your internal value.
Money is a tool.
Yep.
I've never seen money as something that is like it will change my values, will change my principles, will change my morals. Never.
Right.
Right?
Love that.
And the other thing is, when you're used to living a certain way, right? And I spent most of my adult life paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
What was another 2 or 3 more years?
Yeah.
Paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I didn't have to worry about as an entrepreneur was somebody telling me what to do. And
that's awesome.
In the beginning, it was like, man, I don't have to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to be somewhere at 9. So you know what I do? And this is something that I did for probably 3 to 4 years after.
Okay.
And you're going to laugh. So as a police officer, you always had your shift. So you had to be at your shift at a certain time. Most of my shift was afternoon shift.
Okay.
I spent most of my
afternoons in the evening kind of deal.
And then I was on call 24/7, so I was always working. I was always working, midnights and 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, whatever. Sometimes I would even come home for 2 or 3 days. We were on manhunts or whatever. So, but fun. No matter what, every time I would go to sleep, I always had a alarm clock that had to wake me up at a certain time. Every single day, because if I went to sleep at 6 or 7 in the morning, I knew I had to be up at 10 in the morning to go back to work.
You had to build that discipline in.
Yeah. So it was like, doesn't matter if I get 2 hours, 3 hours or 4 hours, I got to wake up and I got to go to work. Get dressed, get in my car and go, right? So when I didn't have to do that anymore, right, I still set my alarm clock every single morning at 8:30 in the morning. Just so that I could wake up, look at my alarm clock, turn it off, and go back to sleep.
Okay.
Because I had the ability to do it.
Okay.
Right? It reminded me every morning that I woke up to appreciate every single day that I didn't have to wake up and go to work.
That was the reminder, the motivation of what you've created for yourself, to not take it for granted.
100%.
Right?
To stay
That's
grounded
amazing.
And understand that what I have, I'm a 1%er.
Yep. So you said something in the middle of all that, and that one thing was that you've been working paycheck to paycheck. And so how hard is it to just keep working paycheck to paycheck for an extra 2 to 3 years when you're building something?
Yeah.
I'm going to push back a little bit. And for you, it was easy because that's where your values were.
Of course.
Right? Like, that's fine. A lot of people would say, you know what? I've been wanting more for so long. So I finally hit that breakthrough. So baby, tops off, let's go. Right? Like, I finally hit that place. Like, let's go. What do you say to somebody like that? That they're, like it's just.
it's, I would say if I had someone tell me like, yo, but I gotta live life and I gotta, and I gotta enjoy life and nothing is guaranteed.
I just
Tomorrow
finally
isn't
got here.
guaranteed. I'm here and I'm making real money, and what I would tell them, I would say, how important is making that real money to you? How important is it to you? What is it worth to you?
Yeah.
And the person's most likely will say, no, it's what I've worked for my whole life. It's the most important thing. It's the most important thing. Well, what if I told you that I just took all that money from you right now and you went right back to where you were?
Yep.
They would freak out, right? I'm
of course.
Anybody would be like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
What you have to do is you have to live your life according to that. Live your life according to the fact that every morning you wake up, it could all be a dream.
It'll be gone.
And it'll be gone.
Yep.
And that's how I live my life probably 80% of my year, right? 80% of my year, I live my life as if tomorrow I'm going to wake up
and it's gone.
And I'm a cop again, living paycheck to paycheck. And I dream all the time. I have dreams on a regular basis, me still being a police officer, me still being in SWAT, me doing operations all the time.
Bro.
Where I wake up, they're so vivid to me that I wake up and I have to check myself. Meaning I have to think, where am I in life? Because I really think I'm still a cop.
That's interesting. Well, and the other thing with that is that you get to a place where you start making the real money. And if you blow it right then and you start being irresponsible with it and not reinvesting it or building your safety fund or building, that, well, then it's not real yet. The cash is real in the moment, but that can be gone. And what happens is if you don't do it the way that you did it, what happens then if you're a TikToker? I've got a buddy, just to use a real example, I got a buddy who is another financial influencer. He didn't even do anything wrong. It was just one thing.
They took his page.
He had over 1 million followers on TikTok. They excluded his page. He was getting 30 to 40 leads a week, and his whole life he'd built and it went through the roof. As you know how this goes when you're an influencer, right? It went through the roof, and then boom, gone overnight. And because he hadn't built his list, and he hadn't built all the
have an email list.
Now all of a sudden,
he didn't have any data.
Nothing, right? And so that can all be gone in a moment. So when you take the time, when you hit that level of success and you take the time to kind of galvanize the ship, if you will, or fortify what you have going on now.
And let me tell you, so that's something huge that you just mentioned that I want to touch on. Building or collecting data is probably the most important thing you can do in any aspect of business. Whoever your consumer is, the more data that you have on your consumer, the more of a safety net you're going to have.
Yeah.
Because if you have 1 million followers, but you have no data on those million followers,
who they are or where they are.
The day that Instagram decides to go, hey, ciao, cut his head, boom, now you have nothing. But if you had every single email, every single phone number, every single name, and every single fucking address to every single person. I'm taking it.
You're taking it very far.
I'm taking it. But let's just say.
But it's a concept.
But right, it's a concept where you had you had a way. Put it this way: you had a way to get in contact with every single follower that you had. And you'll never have to worry about Instagram. You'll never have to worry about nothing. You never have to worry because the moment that you lose it, you just go and send out a mass email, send out a massive boom, and you'll get them all back.
That's when you truly own your business.
That's it.
A lot of these people that are on.
And that's why I went and because I had a subscription service based, website based. With a company in the original. And then I went on my own. I did my own website based.
For sure.
And then I was like, what apps is the future? So what I had to do, well, there's a lot of companies now that give you the platform so that you can build your app-based thing on their app. It's like, no, I want to own my own app. I'm going to build my own app. Because you know why? Because I want all that information of every single subscriber. You know what I mean? It's mine. All that data is mine.
Right.
Because at the end of the
That's your
day,
business.
that's it.
Yeah.
When the people come in from Instagram, when the people come in from YouTube, when the people come in from all these places, they all go to my app, and they all go to my. You know what I mean? So, and people sell those lists, those email lists, for thousands of dollars. Thousands.
The social media is just the top of funnel for the rest of your business. That's all it is, right? And that's it.
Like, for example, YouTube has always been the best conversion rate.
Sure.
In YouTube, because someone that is willing to sit there and listen to you talk for 20, 30 minutes.
If you're still watching this,
an hour in, you are the most invested consumer.
Yeah.
You're going to be willing to be like, well, you know what? I'm going to give this guy $10 a month.
Yeah,
so he can teach me what he has to teach me. Or I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
saying?
If
you've imparted this much value at this point in time.
Everybody else, Instagram, TikTok, and all of that, most of those people, they're what I call those consumers are all hit and runs.
Yeah.
They come in, oh yeah, cool, and keep going. Oh yeah, cool. Unless you have something that you're offering that benefits them in some kind of way.
Super compelling, super quick. Yeah. Like it's microwave mindset.
That's it. Like it's like gone. Their attention span is like, if you don't hit them with a 2x4 across the head in the first 5 seconds, you lost them.
All right, so let's do this. If I and try to keep this brief, and let's finish this up here. If I were starting as an entrepreneur and just getting started, I know what I teach my people, but I'm curious to hear it from your perspective. If you had to start over and you had no following and you had no brand of Tony Sentmanat, Real World Tactical, and you had to start it over today, knowing what you know now, not having to go through all the crap you went through to get to where you are now, but you have all your experience, you just don't have the recognition and the brand and the name and the money and all that stuff. What would you do? How would you build your life and your business, your personal finances? What would be the top 3 things you would do to make sure you launched everything and did it right?
If I had to redo Real World Tactical.
If you had to,
so if I already knew what I wanted.
Yeah, you already know what you wanted. Exactly.
The first thing I was a little, in the beginning, since I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship, I was very unorganized.
Okay.
I would organize myself better.
Okay.
And that's like huge for me.
Yep.
Okay, I know that I want to start Real World Tactical. I know what it is. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Okay, organize myself and structure myself and put everything on a list of all the things that I need to do and what my expenses would be. Find out, do my research. This is what it's going to cost me. This is what it's going to cost me. This is what it's going to cost me.
Love it.
I spent a lot of money in the beginning that I didn't need to spend.
Okay, fair enough. I think most entrepreneurs do that. Yeah.
Totally. And I would structure myself accordingly so that I wouldn't spend that money and waste that money, and I could have used that money for other bigger things.
Yeah.
Right? So number one, since I already know what I'm doing, I would structure myself, organize myself, put everything and make a list of everything that I would do. Like just organize myself, number one. Number two, I would start with the LLC, all my legal aspects, get all my legal things in order.
Got it.
Because that's huge. You have to do that in the beginning because not only that, but you have to build out your brand. Mm-hmm. You have to build your brand out. It's like one of the first things. So you have a vision.
Yeah.
Without a vision and without a dream or a vision, and I don't mean like a broad vision, I mean a detailed oriented vision.
Laser focused
vision.
Yeah.
You won't be able to focus in and detail and structure yourself, organize yourself.
Yep.
So number one, organize. Number two, build a brand legally. Mm-hmm. If you need to do copyrights, you do copyrights or whatever. You save up whatever money you need to do to make sure that whatever expenses that you're going to be expending on is going to be able to benefit you. Meaning everything you're using, your car, this, that, all of that, it's just going to be written off where you're not going to have to pay for it. And you can obviously build a loss. In Florida, you can take a loss 3 years back to back.
Yep.
Okay, so that's your chance
That's nice. Yeah.
That's the chance to do what you got to do.
Building phase.
Yeah. And then number 3, I would say the third most important thing would be whatever your vision is, whatever your brand is, whatever you're building in life, whatever your dream is, build something that no one else has built. Because if you're able to build something that hasn't been built yet and is in a necessity and it's solving a problem, then you have no competition and you own your market. Right? So many people get into something and it's completely saturated.
true.
And it's ran, okay, and this, whatever you decide you want to do, okay, it's ran by multi-gazillion-dollar organizations.
Good luck competing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That are literally run the market.
Yeah.
So they can destroy you or make you.
Yep.
Right? So you're fighting with the same thing. You're offering the same thing. Mm-hmm. What can you offer that they do not offer? And what can you bring to the table that they yet have brought to the table?
Love it.
Right? So everything I've ever designed, everything I've ever made in my 10 years, and I've done countless signature products, plate carrier, blade, apparel, whatever. You name it, I've done a ton of stuff, bags, gear, whatever, right?
All of it.
Most of them are all signature-based, limited edition drops that have all sold out. Or have done very well, right? The reason for that is because every single time that I would drop something, I was offering something that no one else had done at a price that nobody else was willing to take it for.
Yeah.
Meaning, if I did a plate carrier was a plate carrier that had all these functions that nobody else had thought of at a price that was competing with a regular plate
with
carrier.
a normal one. So you had a lot of value add in the situation.
You have all this value for this amount of money. So did I make the same amount of cut? No. But I was okay making a less cut because you know what? I knew that it was going to be sold out. I knew that because of the value that I was giving, that there was no way that it wasn't going to do good.
And it's in alignment with your brand.
Oh,
who you want to be and how you want to show up. Right? That's a big thing.
Yeah,
right?
once you build your brand now and whatever it is that you're building, then, you know, you either have to, just two things. You either have to build something that no one else has done, or you build something that is so good, right?
You got to be so
better
excellent.
than everybody
You
else.
got to be so excellent.
So excellent that it's better than everybody else. And it's cheaper than everybody else.
Well,
because the first version has to be cheaper. Because now people are gonna say, man, yo, that's a really good product. It's better than these, and it's $30 cheaper. Oh, I'm gonna go with this guy. I gotta try him out.
That's an irresistible offer at that point in time.
100%.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Well,
and that's where you make that. Those are the biggest differences.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, thanks so much for being here.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. I'm
Absolutely.
in your place. So.
Yeah, right.
Thanks for being so guys, if you want to follow Tony, Tony, tell everybody where they can find you.
So on Instagram, I'm realworld_tactical. Make sure you type in every single letter because I'm shadow banned because of all the gun stuff and everything. YouTube, Real World Tactical, it'll come up. My website is realworld-tactical.com. And pretty much, I've been doing this for a long time. So if you Google my name, Tony Sentmanat, a whole entire page of stuff will come out and all of my things that I've done in the last 10 years, all my websites, the gaming stuff, and all these different type of things. So it shouldn't be that hard to find.
That's awesome. So what I'll do is I'll put all of what he just said down in the description below. So I'm not going to make you type in his name or, any of that. Just go find him. You follow him on all his Instagram links and YouTube link. Go follow him on YouTube. We did another interview on his channel on YouTube. So if you want to watch that interview, go check it out on his YouTube channel down below. And that's it. Hopefully you found value in this. If you did, make sure you share the video, like the video, get it out there to people. Subscribe, hit the bell. That way you get notified every time we launch a new video. And that's it for now. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.